you are losing money that's rightfully yours. Now, I'm not talking about money lost in the stock market, but I'm talking about money going to the government and to financial institutions like insurance companies and banks. You can keep way more of what you make without having to cut back. You don't have to hand your money over to Wall Street or other risky investments. You can actually create conditions to thrive, grow, and become wealthy. Look, I'm a recovering miser. I would pinch pennies and I would scrimp and sacrifice and save, and no one shrinks their way to wealth. But I also spent a large portion of my life hustling and striving for more at the cost of quality of life. I learned through my mistakes on how to actually create a healthy mindset. Let me break this down into 7 simple parts for you. 1, there are 3 ways to live within your means. So most people, when they hear that advice, they think cut back, scrimp, save, sacrifice, no fun, live off rice and beans. It's really a budgetary mindset, and budgeting sucks. So that's only one way to live within your means. And if you're spending more than you make, if you're continually buying things that you don't need to impress people that you don't like, well, budgeting might be the solution temporarily. You've got to make sure that you're not spending more than you make. But the second and third way are the real game changers in the ways to live within your means. The second way is to be more efficient. It means keeping more of what you make because you pay less in tax, legally and ethically, because you pay less in interest because you have strategy. You pay less in the non-performing fees and commissions within investments, and you find out where you have duplicate coverages and costs with your insurance. So there's a lot of money here for people. As a matter of fact, if we took a business owner making between $250,000 of revenue and $500,000, not what they take home, but the total amount of income that came in to their business, we would find somewhere around $2,484 per month that they could recover through efficiency. So on the tax side of things, we'll go into more detail in this video. Let's talk about interest. There's really just a few things that you could do immediately. Number 1, restructure loans. Interest rates are at an all-time low. Get a better interest rate. You can renegotiate interest rates without even having to refinance, simply because you know how to ask the right questions or get to the right departments, and they want to retain you, especially if you have a good credit score, good cash flow reporting, or have the right collateral. You can get better loans with car loans than you can with credit cards, right? Or just the right connections, the right institutions. This is a big part of just having more wealth because you plug the leaks. Now, the third way to live within your means. This is really the game changer. It's to expand your means. It's to invest in your skill sets and expose those. There's a lot of people out there that are doing a lot of trading their time for their money. They're in dead-end careers, or where my family came from, coal mining. No matter how hard you work, it's hard to get wealthy. And there's coal miners that are spending 14 hours a day, yet they're not getting ahead. So really, expansion comes down to investing into yourself. And what we're going to focus on mostly is efficiency and expansion, because those are the things that are going to be the game changer around creating wealth. So in order to do that, let's go into the other bullet points here. The second one is to invest in yourself. It's important to have a morning ritual. I call this a producer power hour. Producer because I want you to produce more value in the world than you consume. Too many people get caught in materialism, and they have a consumeristic mindset where they look to take more value than they create. But if you start your day right, you start your day by investing in your mindset. And really what I would call the 3 E's: exercise, education, or enlightenment, right? So exercise, education, and enlightenment, you're starting the day off right to be more abundant, to be more creative, to have more energy. Or another way you can look at it is body, mind, and soul. So if you invest in yourself, you're going to create conditions for success and embrace abundance and rise above scarcity. There's too many people that get stuck into scarcity, where they're trying to scrimp and sacrifice and budget, and no one shrinks their way to wealth, as I mentioned, where abundance is more about the value you can create, the service that you offer, and how you can solve problems for others. Now, if you want a good guide to get through this, to figure out what to do, wealthfactory.com/solution. When you go there, it's going to help you create more conditions for abundance. It's going to be identifying your skill sets and where you can produce the most value in the world. It's going to be really about discovering what your abilities and gifts are that you might discount far too often, and then an action plan of what steps it's going to take to rise above. Now, this is my gift to you as a companion to the solutions that I'm offering here on YouTube, to actually personalize it so that you can go through and work on that. You give your email, we can build a relationship, and in exchange, you get this download. All right, so let's go to the third piece, which is about eliminating the noise. I get it. You're watching something here on YouTube, and there's just a lot of platforms out there where it's a media sensationalizing things, right? It's become about clicks and headlines and ratings and remunerating these narratives of scarcity. So I find people that start reading about COVID-19, they read about a depression that's coming or a recession. What it starts to do is make them feel hopeless and help them feel frustrated, and it diminishes their energy. And ultimately, they're constantly in panic. And that level of stress creates a sympathetic state for the nervous system, which just leads to exhaustion. So what I want you to do is instead choose what you listen to, where you learn from. Find places that you are inspired and you're uplifted, hopefully videos like this, right? As you start to bring more of that into your life, especially in that morning ritual, especially in the conversations you have, you can start looking at solutions rather than pointing out problems. You can start to look to be a victor rather than a victim, where you start to look at your personal economy and the things you can do on a daily basis. Now, the fourth piece to this is to live hard easy versus easy hard. I was in college and I went to this lecture for the fraternity I was in, and this guy got up and he talked about hard easy versus easy hard. He said, when you do the hard things first, life gets easier. So maybe these are tough conversations you haven't had yet, but they start to weigh you down and feel like, if you're an employer and it's a tough conversation with an employee, or it's a family member that you have to have a conversation with, but you keep procrastinating it, it starts to become a bigger burden, a bigger problem. But if you'll just address it up front, life gets easier because you're not bearing that for so long and having it become an overwhelming, consumption of your thoughts. So hard easy might be getting up in the morning and doing that morning ritual. Then the rest of the day's easier. Or hard easy might be watching these videos and tackling your finances or investing in yourself, or finally doing something about that business that you always had an idea for. Life will get easier if you do those things. Easy hard is procrastination. It's waiting. It's I'll get around to it one day. It's I'm going to continue to sleep in. It's like I don't have time for a morning ritual. It's the escapism of just watching a TV series to the point where you feel exhausted and depressed even though you didn't do anything. Really hard easy is the key. It's facing pain and learning along the way. It's getting feedback from people about what you can do to improve continuously rather than ignoring it, and it's just easier to go about your day not looking at, was it the right things to do? Had you uplift yourself? Is this calendar indicative of who you are as a human being? And again, it's that morning ritual. That's the hard thing that makes the rest of the day easy. The fifth piece is going back to this notion of, hey, if there's 3 ways to live within your means, the second way is to be more efficient. So that's keeping more of what you make. So let's dive in a little bit deeper. I call this the 4 I's to efficiency. Now, I get it. If you're watching this from another country than the United States, the first one, you have to apply it however it is. It's the IRS in the United States, the Internal Revenue System. But there's so many people that are overpaying on their taxes. Now, right now, we've had 3 IRS notices in 2020. There's videos that we've got on this YouTube channel to navigate the tax laws and the tax code to keep a lot more of what you make. You can even go back 3 years and you could get a rebate or a refund if you've overpaid. And now there's something called net operating losses where you can go all the way back to 2015 if you're a business owner and apply your higher income years with the other losses that you've had and start getting a refund or a rebate. So there's so much that can be done there. Interest we've already talked about, right? On interest side, it's restructuring loans, it's refinancing loans, or it's even reallocating capital. Do you have any underperforming assets that aren't earning much interest that you can pay off higher interest rate loans and therefore immediately improve your cash flow and your financial position? Now on the investing side, it's about managing risk. It's about choosing and being more selective with your investments. It's about becoming a better investor. I call it your investor DNA. Don't just diversify into things you don't understand. That's diversification. Don't just hand your money over to speculative things that they call an investment, but you could lose all of your principal. Investing comes down to risk management and risk mitigation. It comes down to understanding what type of investor you are. Real estate's good for some, horrible for others. Stock market's good for a few, terrible for most people, right? Investing in a business might be a great idea for a business owner. It might be a terrible idea for someone who's never touched business before. Where are you going to invest your money based upon what you know? And if you're not willing to know anything, don't just hand your money over and hope for the best, because a lot of times people end up in the worst situations possible. It's about risk mitigation and management, protecting your downside. You go to cashflowbanking.com if you want to be more passive, but you want to still have access to that capital along the way. If you want to protect your downside yet not pay taxes. If you want to have access to your money before 59 and a half, so it's not locked away, cashflowbanking.com. Now the 4th I is insurance. There's a lot of duplicate coverages and improper structure. Right now in the COVID era, there's people who are not driving their cars, and there are insurance companies that are offering rebates because they don't need the car insurance at the level that they did before. There's ways to increase deductibles and save on premiums. There's multi-policy discounts. What it really comes down to is only insuring catastrophic things, never anything that's inconsequential. Inconsequential means you have the money to cover it yourself, and if you wrote the check today, you could sleep tomorrow. So I'm talking about deductibles on car and homeowners insurance. I'm talking about elimination periods on disability insurance. The earlier those policies kick in, the higher the premium. But if you have the cash to handle it, once again, you might not want to have an insurance company handle the small things, have them handle the catastrophic things so that you're more efficient with your dollars. Now let's go to the next segment, which is really about getting your money back. Getting your money back is the next piece. So missingmoney.com would be one idea, where if you've ever been a business owner and you've been paid money, but it didn't get to you, it's now state property that you could reclaim. Or, as we mentioned with taxes, you can go back 3 years to get a refund or rebate on your taxes. This is money that's rightfully yours. With a little financial, savvy, with a little knowledge, you can go back and put that money back into your pocket. All right, now let's go to the last piece here. The last piece is to really invest back into yourself and to mastermind. Because wealth is a mindset, and wealth is the conversations we have, it's the commitment to what we do on a daily basis, and it comes down to a few factors. Number one, who you spend your time with. Who do you spend your time with right now that inspires you, uplifts you, positively challenges you, helps you grow, and is a good co-creator? Those are the people you want to invest more time in so that you can actually expand your means. Then, what do you spend your time on? If you spend your time on meaningless things in the media, if you spend your time fretting and worrying but not doing anything about it, doing the easy things that are going to make things harder in the future, this is going to be part of the problem. Now, who do you learn best from? And how do you learn best? It's time to invest more time and add more time to the schedule on those aspects. And where do you feel inspired? What energizes you versus drains your energy? When I read headlines that say apocalyptic or that say 22.5 million Californians are going to, have COVID, but that prediction was far off, then that kind of exacerbates that stress and frustration versus spending time in writing, in content creation, and with people that I could be part of a solution rather than just a cry for help without any part of that solution. So where do you feel inspired? And where can you be challenged to grow? Where can you expand your skill sets? Where can you identify more of your abilities? And here's the game changer. Who loves what you do and believes in you? How can you spend more time with them? Because they want to see what you do out there in the world, because they want to be an advocate for you to be even more productive. Because when you're feeling a little bit doubtful, or when you're feeling like, you're not sure you can accomplish this, these are the people that come up with the solutions with you and help you to have that fundamental belief. And I believe that there's so many people out there that have extraordinary gifts to bring to the world if they just had someone that believed in them from early on, or an advocate right now that is out there promoting them or letting people know and connect with them so they can bring their brilliance to the world. Find that catalyst. Find that person in your life. I had a phone call with one of those people in my life today, and you know what? It just made me feel inspired. It made me feel excited. It made me feel motivated. It got me, I just started telling other people about it. It changed the conversation. So some people, when they get into survival, it just cycles and it becomes a downward spiral. When people get into thriving in a wealthy mindset, it becomes about serving, solving problems, and production. But the first piece we want to do is find money that's rightfully yours, put it back in your pocket, and improve your life. With that money, invest it back into yourself, because you're losing money that's rightfully yours. Like I said, not money in the stock market that goes up and down, but money that's going to the government and financial institutions like insurance companies and banks. By keeping more of what you make and avoiding risky investments, you can create conditions to invest in yourself, to thrive, grow, and become wealthy. Now, you have the knowledge to transform your thoughts into profits and build the life you love. If you're looking for more on this topic, check out my video on the 7 foundational pieces of how to create wealth. You'll learn how the foundations of wealth in the financial industry has prescribed for years is completely wrong, and what you can do instead. I'll see you there.